I'm Chef Scott Green, National Pastry Champion and instructor at the French Pastry School in Chicago. Today I'll be demonstrating piping techniques in buttercream and royal icing.
These days, celebration cakes come in all shapes and sizes, and the decorating is elaborate. It may look intimidating, but by using our decorating tips and following these easy steps, your special occasion cake will turn out amazing. We are starting with 3 pre-made cakes. Using buttercream or royal icing, Chef Green will demonstrate a variety of piping techniques, giving each its own classic pattern. We start with a chocolate layer cake with chocolate fondant. First, prepare your disposable piping bag by cutting the tip off the bag. Chef Green is using a coupler inside his bag, which makes it easier to change out tips. Insert the male end of a coupler in the bag, then place the tip over the coupler and lock it in place with the female end of the coupler. This is a lightweight, small disposable bag. Lightweight is best for decorating because they do not resist pressure from your hands. Good for a lighter touch. You should always stir the icing to soften it and to make it easy to scoop and fill the bag with the chocolate buttercream. Buttercream is a mixture of butter and Italian meringue. Be sure to press the icing to the end of the decorating tip and squeeze it a little into the bowl. This helps you know the icing is in the tip and ready for you to begin piping. Chef Green is using a number 30 piping tip or the star tip to create a shell border around the bottom of the cake. Placing the tip gently along the cake, make 3 or 4 shells and then reposition the cake so that you are always working at the best angle. The shell border goes completely around the bottom of the cake. To decorate the top of the cake, you need to position yourself directly over your work area. With the same tip, make the same shell border around the top edge of the cake. Don't get in a hurry and remember to stop and reposition the cake to give you the best angle. Also, constantly move the buttercream further down in the bag as needed. Chef Green is now going to demonstrate a different design, so he changes the tip to a number 4 tip and places the cake back on the turntable. This small round tip allows you to create a trio of Swiss dots in a pyramid. Place these dots about 1.5 inches apart all around the sides of the cake. Make 3 rows of the dots, keeping each row as straight as possible around the cake. You are now ready to change the tip again, this time to number 104, also known as the large rose petal, to make roses. Again, be sure to load the piping tip with icing before starting to use it. You don't pipe the roses directly onto the cake. Cut small squares of parchment paper, then using a bit of frosting, attach the paper to a decorating nail. Make a base for the rose with icing and then hold the tip vertically and begin piping the flower petals, layering each one over the petal before. Turn the nail so you can work on all sides of the rose. When you are done with the rose, set it along with the parchment paper square on the baking sheet. Repeat this process until you have 3 chocolate roses. Then place them in the refrigerator to set. Once firm, take the roses from the refrigerator. Place 3 small drops of icing on the cake where you want the roses to be placed. Then peel off the parchment paper and set the roses in a pattern at the edge of the cake. Going back to the number 4 tip, place it on the piping bag and squeeze the icing into your icing bowl to ensure it is in the tip. Place the cake where you can comfortably position yourself to work on the top, and then start at the base of the roses. Creatively pipe scrollwork onto the top of the cake. And there you have it, a beautifully decorated cake using 3 different piping techniques with buttercream frosting. A popular design right now for wedding cakes is this contemporary 3-tier square cake. It provides an elegant and unique display for any special occasion. We are piping our design in buttercream, which is a combination of butter and Italian meringue. To decorate this cake, first prepare your disposable piping bag with a coupler that is designed for pastry decorating. Attach the number 10 tip, which is a large round tip. Fold the edges of the bag down to make it easier to scoop the icing in the bag. Using a spatula, mix up the icing to make it pliable and easier to work with. Place your hand under the folded edges of the bag and scoop the buttercream into the piping bag. With your hand, press the icing down the bag and into the tip to ensure a smooth start when you get ready to begin decorating the cake. Setting the cake on a turntable can make it easier to rotate the cake as needed. Get in a comfortable position where you can easily reach the cake. Start at the base and carefully pipe a bead border. As you finish each level, move up to the next layer, always working at the base of each layer. Be sure to pipe all the bead borders around the cake first. You may find it's easier to do this work sitting on a stool in order to be at the height of the counter. Change out the icing tip from the number 10 to the number 4. Now it's time to embellish the cake with our elegant piping designs. Return to the middle tier of the cake and using the small tip, complete the pattern with teardrop leaves on either side of the fleur-de-lis. Now move to the bottom layer. Using the same piping tip number 4, create a continuous damask filigree scrollwork on all 4 sides, moving the design from right to left. Adjust the position of the cake whenever needed, and try to get the piping to look identical on all 4 sides. Finally, move to the top tier and repeat the damask filigree scrollwork on all 4 sides, but in the opposite direction, with the pattern moving from left to right. Remove the cake from the pedestal and prepare for the applause. Our final cake is a dainty 8-inch round with robin egg blue fondant, perfect for a teenage girl's birthday or perhaps even a baby shower. We will decorate the cake with royal icing, using several different tips to create an elegant finish. Before you begin, use a spatula to stir the icing vigorously to soften it up and make it easy to work with. Since we are changing out decorating tips quite often, it will be very helpful to use a coupler inside the pastry bag. Place the number 27 small star tip on the bag and fill the bag with royal icing using a spatula. To ensure a smooth start on the cake, press all the icing into the tip and squeeze out enough to know the icing has filled the tip. With the number 27 tip, you can create a looping shell border. Start at the base of the cake, working in a circular motion. Take the border all the way around the bottom edge. It's easy to place the cake on a pedestal with a turntable. This allows you to move the cake around as you work. Switch out your tip to number 88. Next, use the decorating nail to mark off the starting and stopping points for the individual swags that will be piped along the side of your cake around the top edge. Use your fingers to measure the distance between each swag and mark the cake accordingly. Using the same tip, work from the top of the cake down the side to create a swag. Overlapping your piping, start from one point and work to the next in a crescent shape, reaching the bottom of the crescent midway between the starting and stopping point, which you marked with the decorating nail. Repeat the swags around the entire cake. Change out your tip again, this time to the number 4 piping tip. Now you are going to place 3 small dots in a straight line below the meeting points of each set of swags. Royal icing consists of egg whites, meringue powder, and powdered sugar. It's a good option for piping techniques that require volume and designs that need to hold their shape. Make another tip change, replacing the number 4 with the twisting star, tip number 96. Prime the tip by squeezing out a little of the icing into your bowl. Then, at the top of the cake, pipe a rosette above the meeting point of each set of swags. Go back to tip number 4, used at the beginning, and repeat the overlapping shell pattern around the top edge of the cake. There's room for additional piping in the center of the cake, roses, or even a birthday greeting. Whatever the celebration, get ready to be showered with compliments for your work on this charming dessert.